Well, do you remember I said I was going to be leaving Kagoshima today? I was wrong. I'm staying an extra night, and it's not because I didn't book another place. I could have went to the place that I'd already booked, but there's a place that I want to go to today. While the weather is good, it was the former residency of the Shimazu clan back here, and it's got lovely gardens and old buildings. So I kind of want to take a little walk out there today. So that's the reason I extended it by a night. Not because I had no other plans. I swear this is not another Fukuoka situation. Lovely little flower shop here. I don't know if you can see behind me. I got a few busloads of American tourists after showing up here. I just had to stop in, get a little iced coffee. Just because it's very warm today. I know every video I seem to complain about the heat. It's not that I'm complaining about the heat, I'm just complaining about, well, my lack of ability to deal with the heat. That's mostly what it is. It's going to take me about 50 minutes, 45 minutes to get here by walking. Now, I could have walked back the opposite direction, further past Tokaban, where I got the raw chicken, and got a train from there, but like by the time you get there, wait on a train, you know, you'd be nearly here. So that's the plan. I'm going to be walking past where I got the ferry yesterday. I got the ferry just in there. Glorious day. Isn't that a fancy way of saying it's nice outside? And there's a McDonald's over there, of course. Those American tourists are going to feel right at home. Sakurajima looking really clear today, apart from that part on the right. Now, I'm almost certain that that's an eruption. That's the smoke coming out of it from the eruptions, because it's always on the right hand side. Always. But anyway, looking good today. Quite looking forward to going to the place that I decided to go today. Just for the fact that it's so important historically for Kagoshima's area, because the powerful clan having built it and used it as the residency for the leader. A lot of important stuff happened back in the day there. You know, what kind of baffles me a little bit, the more time I spend here in Kyushu, the less I can kind of grasp why it's not visited or talked about as much as other regions in Japan. You know, no matter where you travel in Kyushu, at least no matter where I've been, you know, even traveling between cities, it's beautiful. You're going through this lovely countryside, you've got gorgeous views of the mountains, you could be coming along the coast, you've got these incredible cliffs surrounded by palm trees, and you know, as I said, like, it's like, honestly, it's like Bali or something. You come here, Kagoshima, you've got that lovely temple, the mountain behind it that I went up to the viewpoint yesterday. You look across the water, you've got a gorgeous volcano showing off its magnificence. And you know, I just find it a bit crazy that not so many people talk about Kyushu when they mention going to Japan. It's always Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, and don't get me wrong, they deserve to be spoken about as well. Certainly nothing wrong with them. They're brilliant places, absolutely brilliant. But it seems like Kyushu is just forgotten about. You know, you don't hear many people when they're planning their Japan trip saying, you know what, can't wait to go to Japan, I'm going to go to Tokyo and Kagoshima. You know, it's just not something that happens. But like, I'm walking along here, I know that, alright, there's not an awful lot along this road, but you've got this lovely view out to your right hand side. There's a bit of traffic here, but there's no pedestrians walking along, it's just me. So, yeah, if anyone's watching that happens to be from Kyushu, I really like your island. Even the people here are very friendly too. They're very say laid back, not, maybe that's not the right word, but they certainly are not as always in a hurry as people when you go to Tokyo. I know it's very different atmosphere, different style of life as well. It's a lot more, say, less competitive here, maybe that's the right word, you know. But yeah, I don't know, I just, you know, look around me, come on, just take this view in, right? You know, you're not going to get that in Tokyo. I guess it depends on what type of a holiday you're going for. If you're just going to go for anime and pop-up cafes and this kind of thing, then yeah, sure, Tokyo is a fantastic option. Nothing wrong with that. But just to see a bit more of, well, for want of a better word, real Japan. Regular Japan. Not the Japan that you see in YouTube videos like that. They only nitpick like the really weird things in Tokyo, really interesting things, not weird, but unique things, you know. But most of Japan is very different than Tokyo. I don't know. Anyway, look, that's just my little ramblings about my impressions of Kyushu. So I'm almost where I want to be. There's a nice beach over there. Oh, never mind, hold on. I've got a little shrine here. I think I want to go up there and have a little look. Nice, very nice. Anyway, I was going to say to you, there's a beach just here. You can probably see people out doing water sports. Now, it's not supposed to be a great beach for typical beach activities like sitting down and sunbathing or just kind of walking around in the knee-deep water, because apparently the sand is also mixed with like volcanic ash. So, you know, it's harder to wash off. Just thought I'd walk down to the beach just to have a little look. See for myself. You can see, well, maybe it doesn't come out on camera, but the sand does look rougher. It's not as smooth looking as, well, a typical beach that you find away from a volcano. But yeah, this is what's going on. Everyone now having fun. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Everyone having fun on a Saturday morning. Sometimes you lose track of what day it is. Yeah, it stretches up. Now where I'm going is over there. It's not that far away. No, it hasn't taken as long as Google Maps told me. Of course, that's always wrong, isn't it? I think that's if you're shuffling along. But yeah, this is Iso Beach. Not the most spectacular beach, but look, it's a beach nonetheless, isn't it? You could swim in it, there's nothing wrong with swimming in it. It's just that, you know, it's a bit ashy, the area, just naturally from the ash that's coming from the volcano. So, yeah, I guess that's one of the downsides of having a beach near a volcano. Quite a few tourists here. Now, you remember how I said to you that in Kagoshima, the feudal lords were kind of instrumental in modernising Japan at that time? Well, that's because south of Kyushu was usually the first point where foreign lands would send ships to try and establish trade with Japan. So they also thought actually this could be the first point they come along try and invade Japan, because of course a lot of industrialized nations were kind of invading other Asian countries and islands at the time. So they realized, hold on, we need to kind of industrialize a bit more, try and get a bit more modernized so that we can defend ourselves if that happens to be the case. And it was all around this region that it all began. And actually, as of course they were modernizing, they had to also modernize their weaponry. And when they were moving from the old style weapons to these larger weapons, they needed to produce more alcohol for the firing caps that they needed. And to do that, they used the sweet potatoes to make the shochu. So not only was the shochu used for weapons, but it was also a nice tasty drink for the people of Kagoshima to enjoy. I will, if you want to know, coming here costs 1600 yen, about €8, which is fine. It's a pretty good price for, like, it's a day out really. You probably spend a few hours here because there's also a museum beside it, which is nice. You can get your dinner, get your lunch, buy your souvenirs, and all these kind of old style shops here. So I'm gonna go into the house here so we can have a little look at the Shimazu family's lifestyle from like the 19th century, so the 1800s. So this house was actually built the same time as the gardens, so the 1650s, but it's been renovated many times since then. It's hard to believe that such a powerful family would have lived here, walked around this building. It's the servants' quarters. Tell you, he had quite a nice place to study, didn't he? This is the old bathroom. Crazy. And this is the welcome room. So this used to be used to inspect the gifts that they received from other clans, delegates from other countries. was quite an interesting house, wasn't it? So we're just entering out into the garden area. Hold on, turn around now. What a beautiful garden. This is still where I was looking from in the house. But when they built this garden, back in, I think it was the 1650s, 1640s, 1650s, they built it using a Japanese technique called shakai. Now shakai is using a landscape that's already there to kind of go with what you're building. So when they built this garden, obviously they used Sakurajima and Kinko Bay in the distance. My god, can you imagine? Well, of course he was royalty basically, so I mean, you know, he could come out here. Maybe the regular people couldn't come along like we can now, can probably come along and have coffee back there with the view of Sakurajima, but back then, you know, the only people that could do that was basically this powerful family. But imagine being able to sit here, sit in the shade looking out at Sakurajima in the distance, Kinko Bay in the distance. You don't even have to come out into the garden. He could have just sat on at his little porch that he's got and just basically sat there and got the same view. But loads of tourists. Lovely little bonsai trees growing. Check out the little ponds that he's got here. Now a couple of little interesting facts for you about this garden. So you might remember Emperor Meiji from some old videos of mine. He was the guy who basically revolutionized modern Japan as we know it. Well, this garden in the 1870s, this hosted him, which was a huge honour, of course, at the time. Also, just past here, you might be able to see there's kind of construction getting done here, but just past that was one of Japan's first modern factories. It's actually part of a UNESCO World Heritage Site now. But now, do you remember that shrine I went to the other day with the guy, and I said he was very important for being the one in Japan to kind of want to embrace Western technology. He was probably one of the first to do that. Well, he actually used to come here and experiment with certain Western technologies such as machinery, gas lighting and glass. So this place is, yeah, it's very, very important. And actually the Shimazu clan, who ruled here, ruled for like 700 years. So of course, such a powerful family. Senganen, which is the place we're in now, it's called Senganen. It's actually used as a very popular place to film period Japanese dramas or samurai movies because of its authenticity. They don't have to go building sets or anything. They can just come right here and, well, they don't have to do anything. They can just use it as it is. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Let's go take a little walk around. Just want to give you a little tip as I'm walking by this lovely old building. So when I was getting my ticket for this, I got my ticket at the ticket counter at the machine. I could have bought it. I'm sure if you've travelled around, you've probably heard of Cluck. They sell tickets for lots of attractions, stuff like that. Now Cluck were selling tickets for this for like, I think it was €9.50. However, with the weak Japanese yen, you're much better off just like paying in yen when you come here. I think when what did I say it was in yen? 1600, so it was probably like €8, okay? Just say, as an example. Now obviously 150, it's not a huge deal. However, if you're going on a lot of trips and you're going to be using a lot of attraction tickets, then I think that's the best way of going, because eventually it'll add up. You know, you might, at the end of your trip, it'll get you a free dinner. That's something, isn't it? But yeah, just a little tip, just because at the moment that the yen being as weak as it is, so that's just my little tip for you. I must say it's absolutely beautiful walking around these gardens. Of course there's a lot of tourists, but even so, everyone's moving around quick. There's no one stopping, getting in your way or anything to kind of take away from the experience. I love these old style buildings. There's something about them, and I don't know why I'm whispering. But there's something about them. They're yeah, just walking around, it's just great to see this old architecture. That's now, of course, I don't want to say preserved, because these are probably rebuilt, but however, the architectural style is preserved, and I love that. I really like that. I think it's a great thing. Too often we go around traveling and we see all these places, it's just gentrification everywhere. Everything looks the same. Everything is just, I don't know, I don't like it, not gonna lie. Everything's boring. Coming up to a little viewpoint here of Sakurajima, and of course I already have a viewpoint when I went up to the top of the mountain back in Kagoshima. Now you imagine yourself, you're living down here, part of this powerful family, and you want to just kind of come somewhere, read a book and relax, you know, do something, maybe paint, maybe just meditate and relax. You could just come up here, because you've got this beautiful view over of Sakurajima and Kinko Bay, and you can see the boat that I got over to Sakurajima just coming in there. Now of course there wouldn't have been any traffic back then, maybe a few horses going around, but yeah. Did I mention that it's very warm today? Now, the clouds have come in, but it's not helping. Just picked up this premium lemon squash. It's nice and refreshing. Yeah, what a place. Highly recommend this if you're in Kagoshima. Just like, it's a 40-minute walk, 30-minute walk, whatever, along a lovely coastal road, and you come out to this beautiful garden area, beautiful preserved buildings. Great to be able to come half an hour away from the city just be surrounded by nature and other tourists, but you know, that comes along with a place like this. As you come down the steps here, you can see the bamboo grove. And I've said it before, but I love seeing these little bamboo areas. Really makes you feel like you're in Asia. Gives you the full Asian feel. Now, of course, that's just me being a silly tourist, but there's something nice about it. I don't know if you can see these lizards chasing each other or whatever they are. The type of lizard anyway, I think. See him with a lovely blue tail. Damn. Look at that tail, isn't that incredible? Wow, what a beautiful colour. Look at the colour of the trunk of this tree. It's lovely orange, fire orange colour. That's beautiful, isn't it? Very unique. Now, this little stream over here, what side will I go? Oh, I'll go this way, I'll tell you in a second. So the garden around this stream was built in order to actually host poetry writing competitions, okay? So what would happen was the poets would come along and they'd, each at one at a time, they'd be seated down beside this stream somewhere. And a cup of sake would be placed upstream, and by the time the cup of sake reached them, they had to have the poem written. Isn't that interesting? I think that kind of practice of the poetry competition actually originates in China. I forget the name of it in Japanese. I did read the name, but it's too complicated for me. But yeah, quite a little interest in the kind of competition style. Wouldn't you agree? I hope if they actually wrote the poem in time that they got to at least drink the sake. I don't know. I think that's something they could use nowadays to make a game show or something on TV. Although Japanese game shows are already weird enough, they probably have got something similar. So here's another little useless fact here, right? So this bamboo is called Moso bamboo, and it was imported in the 17th century from China. And it was only 2 stalks of it were actually imported, but over time it eventually spread around all of Japan. So yeah, imported bamboo that has taken over. Now I'm just coming up to the cat shrine here. So the Shimazu clan used to bring cats with them on their military invasions because they thought that cats could tell the time of day with their eyes, depending on what shape they were. You know, whether they're kind of oval shaped at the time or fully round, that's what they used to tell the time of day. However, one of their military interventions went into Korea, and they brought 7 cats with them, and only 2 made it back to Japan. So they believed that these 2 cats were sacred, and they enshrined them here in the cat shrine. Let's go in and check it out. It does say you can rub them, so it's fine. It says pet them gently. And here they've actually got one of the traditional rice husking machines. Strikes about once a minute. So let's see if we're lucky enough to not have to wait 1 full minute. think that's gonna do it from us here in Senganen. Really lovely place to walk around. I've just completed a full loop. Nice place. Really glad I came out here. Glad I spent an extra day in Kagoshima. As a matter of fact, I may not have even come here if it wasn't for the lady that works in my hostel. Someone on a motorbike. She told me like, yeah, you really should have went there, and that's why I said, yeah, I've been thinking about going, so gave me an excuse to stay in Kagoshima for an extra night. Very happy that I did. So yeah, I think that'll do it. Wasn't it a nice place though? You know, I'd never heard of it until I got to, well, Kagoshima basically. Then I'd heard a lot about it, but before I'd come here now, never heard of it in my life. So yeah, that'll do it from us here in Kagoshima. Be heading wherever next. Still not sure, but I have more of an idea now, so you'd be happy to know that. Well, take in this lovely view. This is definitely the last time you'll see the tippy top of Sakurajima. I said yesterday it's the last time you see it, but this, I really mean it this time. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. Bye bye.